that didn't have anything to do with Kepa. I'm not blaming him for the game.
Let me know, man. Like, we want to get all your thoughts, man. What could we have done better? What did we do good? What's your thoughts on the game in totality, man? Leave no stone unturned, man.
I just think, wrestling control of a game after we score. I think we allowed Chelsea to get their tails up after every goal that we scored.
Facts.
Instead of putting them to the sword and just ending it and just going ahead and getting that, at 2-0, getting that 3-0, at 3-1, getting 4-1. They just kind of were able to wrestle control back. And I feel like when they were having waves kind of half chancey moments before the set piece. And I think that's where starts the nervousness, and then people are not concentrating. I think there was some sloppiness. So it's just that, I thought the first half, Chelsea, to me, were the better team. We just happened to score that goal early. So I don't know what it is about the team. And it just doesn't feel like we're able to, just kill off teams at times. And maybe I'm asking for too much, but Chelsea were missing 3 of their best players, if not their 3 best players, and they should have been dead and buried, and they're not. So we just, on February 3rd, just handle business, because, it really should have been dead and buried to me, But
go on.
I do think that there are some positives, it's not all negative. Gyokeres, no matter how it came, getting a goal and assist is positive, because he's going to continue to play. Arteta hasn't taken him out of the competition. He hasn't shunted him to the side. As soon as anybody was fit, he's stuck with him, and now he got a goal and assist. Cool. Perfect. And I think the other positive for me is just, and I'm sure you'll say your piece too, is, I'm sorry, Zubimendi is just a class act. He's just more than anything I could have dreamed of from a DM's perspective. And again, where maybe there's times where he's not as physically dominating as people would like, what you get on the flip side is just so valuable. He scores goals, he creates moments. And I just love him. He had Enzo Fernandez so rattled at the end of that game.
I don't know what's going on with that Enzo youth, man, because I never saw you. Saliba was trying to be Trossard and Saka. Obviously, Zubimendi, I don't think he had a first half to scream and shout about, but when he turned it on, he was good. Rice on his birthday, great assist. Odegaard might have made a mistake, and the one time I've been critical of Odegaard in a hot minute, I think yesterday, they were all more prominent than Enzo. But Enzo, one thing I'll give for Enzo Fernandez, especially someone that didn't grow up in England, he has mastered the art of performances, stinky, do the little fight thing. Oh, he's proper Chelsea, he's down for it. And respectfully, pick on someone that actually wants to fight. Zubimendi's laughing in your face, so he doesn't rate you. And Zubimendi's a good guy. He's not really trying to beef you. Before we get into Zubimendi and Gyokeres, you said something, and I don't want to lose my trail of thought. Obviously, we know it's a cup game and all of those things, but I do think you on your channel, me on my channel, any Arsenal fan around the world, and definitely whenever me and you link up, even when we win, we kind of are talking about the same things, not putting daylight between the sides, not killing off games. You know me, I've been very critical about how I think we're a good defensive side this season. A few years ago, we was a great defensive side.
Yeah.
Why we could keep talking about the same things, regardless of who's out there? Because I remember people saying, oh, there's no Magalhaes. When he's back, it's going to be there, even though it was here when he was there, and it's obviously when he wasn't and whatnot. Why did the game, what is it for you? What is it, mentality? Obviously, sometimes it's probably been not killing the chances. Yesterday was probably a bit of both. Why does it feel like we keep talking about that? Barring the champs, because the Champions League, we've actually done what we're calling for, but the Premier League Cup, we've been saying this, innit? So, why obviously you're not the coach, but why do we keep, what's going on?
I mean, outside of the Wolves, last minute kind of goal, I feel like they've all followed the same program where we've had chances, we haven't killed off the game, and then we get into that weird spot around the 70th minute where we make some defensive subs, we start to get more defensive, the other team starts to push because they know that it's just a goal. They're only 2-1 up, they're only 1-0 up, they're only whatever, and I feel like it follows that same pattern where we don't finish off our chances. They understand that there's time left. they push, and then we let them have these waves of half chances and little moments where, you see it. The teams, like, they get a little half chance, and then all of a sudden
They're
they're
inspired
confident.
now.
Yeah, they get a couple little moments, and then we just kind of collapse, and give up a goal. And I just think we're at a point now in the process, per se, where at some point the attack is going to have to outperform the defense. I don't think they're going to be able to keep they've still kept quite a few clean sheets this season, by the way. They're still like the best defense in the league, by the way, but they're not keeping clean sheets at the clip that they were a year ago. So at some point, the attack, and when I say the attack, I don't just mean the attackers, I mean Arsenal as an attacking
A
force.
whole attacking ethos.
100, like, they need to kill off games when they have those moments where we're on top of them. When we score a goal, you need to score the next one in the next 5 minutes. Kill the game off, end it. There's too many games where we go in 1-0 at halftime, 0-0 at halftime. It's just not enough. And you can't do it every single game, but it's so rare that we've done it this season. And I think that's where it's coming from. And I just don't think the team is able to keep those level of clean sheets, not because they're not good, but because it was unsustainable to keep a clean sheet almost every single game.
And no shots on target as well.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of what I think it is. It's less that we're slipping. It's more so that, like, there's just like a push and pull of a game at times where if you just get 2 goals and it's 2-0
Good,
at,
bad, and the ugly on a frequent basis with us, man.
yeah, if it's 2-0 at the 70th minute, that's totally different than 2-1 or 1-0. That's just, that's all I'm asking. If can we just kill somebody off in the first half? Anyone. Like, not, I don't expect us to do it with every single team, but someone.
I make you right, man. And even for me, like you said a point, it made me think. One thing I was very critical of in the first half was I think there was a lot of gaps. I can't tell you if that's Arteta or the players, but I think there was a lot of gaps. I think Chelsea only really I only felt Chelsea was scary on the counter attack, mainly because of what we're doing. I actually think we pressed well. I think, Chelsea playing out from the back is an accident waiting to happen, but it was an indifferent half. Now, both teams statistically, the first 15 minutes of the second half, they start well. So it doesn't surprise me that we scored and then they scored. But then I make you right in that obviously no one wants to concede. No one's trying to concede on purpose, but you're most vulnerable when you've just conceded. I can't remember for the life of me if it was the first or second goal we scored, but it felt like before me or you have even like put our bums back on our seats because we've scored, they've went and got a corner. And I think Mikel Arteta mentioned that. So I think it's a bit of everything. It's street smartness, it's killing games. Obviously, if you can score goals, you kind of kill teams' morale and spirit. Yesterday was a bit of just fuck ups from players individually. I do feel it's definitely happened at the Emirates, but I do feel on the road, Jess, I'm seeing this a lot more than away from home, and that does naturally concern me. So we're going to have to bear in mind, we're going to have to be better. I want to ask about some individuals, Now, me and you love Zubimendi. You've said it there. I actually don't think he was anything to scream and shout about in the first half. I think Odegaard did him dirty because he obviously he slipped. But when he turned it on. Like many people will focus on his goal because Gyokeres assisted him. But it was a fantastic passage of play. He's actually been involved in that. I only mentioned that to ask you this, Obviously, I look at Zubimendi as Rodri. Like, he's not Rodri, but I look at him like you've come as a 6. You're too intelligent and too good not to participate in all phases of play. Probably statistically now you've scored the most goals you've scored in a single season at Sociedad at Arsenal, innit? Do you think he's going to get the Declan Rice treatment? And what I mean by that is we know Rice does everything. Do you see a bit of that with Zubimendi? Because I actually feel this is 5 out of 10 Zubimendi. This is a man that's just signed for the club, just getting warm, just getting his feet under the door, just getting warm. I think if you think this is a good Zubimendi, in time to come, Zubimendi's going to look meaty compared to what I think is to come. But do you think he's going to get the Rice treatment?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think Declan's first season with us was not as good as the following seasons. Like, I just think, it takes time to melt into what we're trying to do and understand what we're about. And for him to be what he is right now only speaks volumes to what the level of the player is. There were a lot of questions from a lot of people around, was he good enough for the Premier League? Could he adapt? Yeah, is he special enough? And I think we're starting to see that he has it. I do think his second season will probably be better than his first, but my goodness, the first one to me is impressive. You it's just, I don't know what else to say about him. I just think he's so important to what we're doing. He's the only player that's come in this past summer that is an established starter, one of the first names on the team sheet. Everybody else is just like kind of involved-ish. He is a first name on the team sheet, one of them. So yeah,
Facts.
I love him. Like, he's so good. And he's only going to get better from here. And I think people are starting to notice him because he pops up in so many interesting positions.
You see, in the first half, the forward runs he was making, there was one
Yeah.
moment where I actually thought before the camera panned, I thought it was going to be Gyokeres. I was like, what the fuck is Zubimendi doing there? And he just didn't quite have the strength to make any meal of it. But I make you right, Jess. It just screams volumes about his intelligence, about
Oh, yeah.
how he's able to do things. And I wouldn't say he's a blank canvas, but it's like a semi-blank canvas. There's a lot more to come from the guy, man. So
Yeah.
good.
I've also noticed in the last couple games too, like, we've worked a lot on, you can tell we've worked a lot on our pressing. Our pressing in the last couple of games has been really good. Have we capitalized on it? No, but our pressing has been really good. But also these runs that Zubimendi and Saliba, oddly enough, are making from deep positions are allowing us to open up teams. If we could just get the final ball correct at times, or when you do get that cross, get the shot off early, we could be really dangerous, because that is just like, you can tell that Arteta is working on things. It's just, I still feel like our main issue is decision making and quality in the final third. Because we're
Facts.
getting there. We're there. We're there. Like, it's just the final ball or whatever, it's just not good enough.
So is that
And
the players or Arteta? But that
I
specific point you
think
said there.
I feel like we have to be real though. Like, I feel like anytime we've heard that, like, a coach say something like, I think Pep said, like, my job is to get you there, then you need to do, this up to you at that point. I do feel like it's kind of like 70-30. I feel like it's a little bit maybe of Mikel being a little bit predictable in the way that we do things. That's why I was happy to see like these changes with Saliba and Zubi coming and making those deeper runs. But 70% of it to me is the players. I just think, like, look at Ben White. Like, he's come in and he's had some good moments in the final third, just picking out good passes. Instead of trying to
Like yesterday.
cut it back or do some bullshit, he just hits it to where the striker is going to fucking be. Like, that's just what he does. And so I think they just need to make better decisions. That's, Timber, you have to make better decisions when you get up there. You
He was
must.
poor
Like,
yesterday, but we love him.
I agree. I think that was one of his rare poor games. And our wingers, when you get, can you get the cross off earlier? Do we need to chop, 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 chop? Can we just hit it across the six and see what happens?
Do you think it's because you got a left footer on the right and a right footer on the left with that? Because I
Yeah.
remember when Saka on the left, he used to put some lovely whip balls in, similar to what you saw with Ben White yesterday, when Saka used to be number 77. Do you think it's because of that, or is
Yeah.
that a cop out?
That's part of it, because it makes you have to take that additional second to get it back on your better foot. But these are professional footballers. At this point, I expect Saka and Trossard to be able to utilize their weaker foot to a decent level. It should be able to touch your other foot and you should be able to get it across the six. So I just think they need to make better decisions quicker. There's just times where instead of just taking the shot, you just see them pass, 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 like these little weird ass passes. I'm like, this don't even look like a pattern. This just looks like you guys are like, you take it, you take it, you take it. Can you shoot? Or what? So I think where Arteta's, maybe his patterns are a little stale at times. I just think they make poor decisions in the final third.
I'm with you, because at the end of the day, like, it's not like Arteta, regardless of, like you said, like, it's 70% this and 30% that. Regardless, Arteta is going to be blamed in it. It's your team, rightly or wrongly. I just feel when I look at these players, whatever I think about them, that attacking bunch or players in the final third, if I thought you lot were shit, then I'll be more critical on the manager. You lot are too experienced, too good, and you've shown me that you can do that. Now, granted, the manager might say don't force it and whatnot, but I just think it needs to go up the gears. And yesterday there were moments of that, but generally this season we still need to go and get that. And you know what, the most realist thing I think you said in this 23 minutes was, at some point we're going to need our attacking ethos to try and carry us through games. And you know what, to be fair, you could say that yesterday. So it's a bit of a weird one. What did you make of Benjamin White anyways? Because I feel he's been good in 2 games. Like, he was linked with a move away. I'm happy with him and Timber, but what did you make of White in general, man? Big him up for scoring as well.
Yeah. I think Ben, since these last 2-ish games has been good. And he's doing what Ben does. Like, he's really good in possession. He has a great relationship with Saka. I think he puts the ball in good positions. You know, he just knows how to put the ball across the six. So many of our players just don't know how to do that. He got cooked once, but that's kind of like the Ben White special. He's going to do 99% good shit, and he's going to get cooked once. That's the difference between having Timber there and Ben White, you know? So I think he's done well. To me, we need Ben White so badly because Timber looks like he's so tired. Like he looks like somebody that's been playing every single game for over a season now.
Which
So
has been the case.
well, exactly. That's exactly he just looks because we were talking about it in a group chat before, and one person was saying that I hope that we start Ben White and Timber against Chelsea. And I was like, that's probably our best option based on form and all that, but it doesn't help Timber at all not to be able to sit down. You know, it would have been ideal to be able to have any one of our players. And I get why he did it because honestly, MLS probably would have got killed yesterday, you know, because even Timber struggled a little bit against Esteval. But the fact that we can't sit Timber down even for a second is a little bit of a problem, you know.
Is that a problem even more because we don't know what's going on with Hincapié and Calafiori?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Like, that's exactly what it is. Like, we know Calafiori is injury prone, but then we brought in Hincapié, and then he's not been able to maintain any level of fitness. And I have no idea what's going on with Miles. You know, I get
Back
why.
him all the way, man, but he's just gonna have to come out of this hurdle.
Oh,
Man.
absolutely.
I'd start him against Forest. I can't lie. I genuinely would, because of he probably will go Timber and Ben White, and I don't think Ben White deserves to be dropped. But I just feel the left-hand side, I wanted a bit more yesterday, and maybe it's because Timber had an off day, but like he's always thinking about being on his left. I hear what you said because Estavio was probably their best player, but I would probably go with Miles Lewis-Skelly if we can't draw for a Hincapié or a Calafiori. That being said, we know this ain't the best version of Miles Lewis-Skelly, and I won't begrudge if you do see Timber left back and White right back. White should be okay. You know, I mean, I remember me and you were on this platform and we were speaking, I think around the Olympiacos game when Arteta was seen shouting at White. White was looking rusty. He's doing all right. And he's got a couple of days to rest for Nottingham Forest, innit? And you know what? If Timber plays great at left back on Saturday, we're laughing. But I would probably go Timber. I'd actually probably go Timber and MLS for that game. I want to stick on like talking about individuals. Yeah, I can see certain people asking stuff in the chat. Don't worry, we're going to get to that. Yeah. We got to talk about Viktor Gyökeres, man. Like, can I ask you a question? Like, would you say that we have to give Gyokeres credit because many people would say Kai Havertz is our first choice striker. He understands the system. You know, Gyokeres had no preseason. There's been like pitchforks for him to do what you did yesterday in the semi-finals of an English game, which is at this point in the season our biggest game of the season, like semi-final. Could you argue that's the most important goal of the season from Viktor Gyökeres?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, I think ultimately, like from my perspective with him, any goal, anything is positive because the pressure is definitely on him.
Don't matter how you score, you just need your name.
Yeah, I don't really care what the circumstances. He just needs to start scoring. And, you know, I can see in the comments people are saying that I need to apologize to him, but I'll just say that, like, I don't feel like anything has changed because for him, I hope that it changes things, but we bought him to be the guy that, you know, basically pushes us closer to the title and makes it easier for us to score these goals. And he hasn't been that, you guys. He just hasn't. For whatever reason, he hasn't been that. But if this can ignite, because what you notice about him is if he gets a shot off or he scores a goal, his overall play from that moment is better. After he scored that goal, you could see that instantly the confidence is up, which makes sense because he's a striker. So more shots, and hopefully this goal will make his overall game and like his overall flow better. And I get that it's not all his fault, but we definitely need a higher level from him. I do think that, you know, it's been a struggle since he's come back from injury, but he did well yesterday. I thought the assist was nice, which kind of went back to like the Burnley game, you know, the Burnley game where we were all looking at it and being like, okay, he looks like he's really putting everything together.
Like he really settled now and then he got injured.
That little assist, I was like, cool, you know, because we're playing like quick little passes. And, you know, I know that he's been Timberland boots and all that kind of stuff, but that showed a little bit of finesse. So You did the strikery thing where you were where you needed to be when we needed you to be there, and then you also did the link up. That was a really good game for him in the
And you fucking
context.
got in the box.
Yeah, that was it. To me, that's a good game for him within the context of it's been really, really poor, so shout out to him, and he starts against Nottingham Forest,
Do you think that's his best game in an Arsenal shirt?
I think his best game in an Arsenal shirt was the Burnley game. I
It
think just
probably was.
overall, that was a really good overall performance because he really, yeah. But this is also good and against better opposition. So,
Honestly, Jess, I felt like crying because I can't like no, Jess, I felt like crying. I make you right for the assist, flowers, the goal, flowers, because you know what, you know me. I keep saying them kind of goals is all I'm interested in from Gyokeres. But the first half, I can't look beyond the first half. Like you made a shot happen for yourself where you've shanked it wide. I'm actually seeing you involved. Like you always press and do all of that, but you was pressing. The first half, I think you needed it because I was of the belief here that I think we tried to do the playing into form thing. I know Jesus has been poor. Kai's just working his way back up. I was going into this game. I was saying, you know what, Marino, let's go with him up front. We tried the playing into form thing. Maybe Gyokeres in this super sub thing. Like, just take him out the firing line. So the first half did it for me. The second half was all right, obviously, with his goals. Do you think he kicks on now? Like, do you think he... Bit of a twofold question. Do you think he kicks on now? And do you think he can get 15, 20 goals?
I mean, yeah, he can get 15 or 20 goals in all competitions if he kicks on from here. But Arteta really, I thought at first that Arteta was doing bullshit, as usual, like, he's good, he does this for the team. But I actually think Arteta believes it because he hasn't snatched him out when he could have. We see him. Mikel loves Mikel Merino, and Mikel Merino has been fit
We're gonna
basically
get
the
on to
whole
him
season. So if he wanted to, he could have said, fuck it, like
easily.
I'm done. But I actually think Arteta truly believes that Viktor Gyökeres can be the player that we bought. And so he can kick on. We need to get him more opportunities, which comes with the decision making, but he also needs to continue to be in the place that we need him to be. Don't not be there because you didn't get it the first time. I know he's frustrated. You can tell he's frustrated. You can tell. He didn't even celebrate his goal. He's pissed. I get it. But you need to keep doing it because eventually, hopefully, these players find you. So we have to. I'm skeptical.